Hello, hello! Chrissy Topes here for Crafter's Companion, and today we are going to create this card, and we're going to use all different products available on the Crafter's Companion website. So first we're going to start with this stamp set. It's from Sheena. It's the Little Bit Sketchy series, and it's called Autumn Leaves. But we are going to make these leaves look non-autumn. They're going to be more spring or summery. So we're going to stamp this first using some Stays On jet black ink. The reason why we're going to use Stays On is because we are going to be using the Spectrum Aqua markers, and those are going to be used with water, and you want to use Stays On or another ink similar to it if you're going to be working with water or watercolors, because normal ink or like chalk ink is going to blur. So you can see I just kind of test my stuff first before I stamp it onto my card. I am using some watercolor paper for the card. You can see the difference in color. My scrap paper there is just like a plain 80-pound white cardstock, and then my watercolor paper you can see is a little more off-white, and that is it's by Artist Loft. I got it at a craft store, and it's just a 90-pound watercolor. I'm also going to stamp the sentiment in Stays On too, just because I am going to have water on the card, and the sentiment is from the Sentimentals greeting set. And you also kind of got a sneak peek of how I store my stamps. Those awesome binders that I keep them in. So these are the Spectrum Aquas. They're awesome. That's all I can say, is they're totally awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple colors down. I'm going to use my acrylic block almost as a palette, like an art palette. And I have my little container of water there. That's just a container that I have that, you know, you would store like sequins or beads or something in, and I have an empty one that I use for water. That keeps my water all separate, so I don't have to keep dumping out my cup of water every time I switch colors. I don't have to worry about my colors getting contaminated because the water's too blue or something like that. So all I do is I dip I have a little water brush pen there. All I do is I dip it and I treat it like a brush, but I like it because I can hold it more like a pen or a pencil. So I feel like I'm actually coloring instead of painting. So a brush will work too. Anything will work. I just prefer this. So all I do is I add water to the color, and then the way that it reacts, it looks like watercolors. They feel like watercolors. It's like having paint, but you have the control of a marker. And the markers too are dual-ended, like the other Spectrum Noir markers are. So you have like a nice brush tip, and then you have a little itty-bitty nib that is so perfect for getting into those fine details. So here you can see I used the light color first, and then while it's still wet, I went in with some of the darker greens, and you can just see it almost blends itself because they react with the water, and so they all kind of just blend together. So I'm using a couple different greens. I have moss, bud green, and green leaf for these. And then you'll see I'll come into and I'll add some colors to the background and stuff like that. I tried to keep this pretty subtle. So here I'm gonna add some aquamarine. I'm gonna use the exact same technique that I already used. I just want to kind of put like a shadow or like a highlight around there, just something to contrast with the green a little bit. Just a real light blue, kind of to mimic the sky almost, but I didn't want the entire card to be blue, so I just kind of have it around the two flowers just to make them pop out a little bit. And again, that's also part of the reason why I stamped the sentiment also in Stays On in the jet black, because I knew that I'd be putting water in the background and I didn't want that to blur. Could you imagine doing all that work and then after you're done the sentiment blurs? That would be horrible. Have to stamp over, I don't know, figure something out. So again, those are the Spectrum Aquas. And here you can see, I'm also going to come in and I'm going to add some little flicks. I just took some yellow and I just flicked it. So and then I'm going to use a heat gun. There we go. Dry that up. Now you can let it dry. You don't have to use a heat gun. It's not required or anything like that. I just like to speed things up for this video. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to also come in, and this is what is so great about this line, is everything coordinates really well. So for like the veins of the leaves, I am using the pencils. And you can see that I'm just kind of going in and drawing, and I mean gently shading. Sorry, my hair is kind of covering it up there. But there we go. You can kind of see that I think it looks a lot more realistic when you add the pencils with it too. I mean, you still have that soft, beautiful watercolor look, but then you do have a little bit more of the crispness that makes it look real. So just use my extra strong permanent tape runner. You want to put a lot on there so it doesn't buckle because you're using watercolor. And there's a sneak of the finished card. Thanks.